How to read a handshake. Hands reveal a lot about a person. Written and read by Bernhard Kutzler. If you meet someone, it would be helpful to know something about the person. Shaking hands can help. In this podcast, I'll explain what you can read from a handshake and how. In the body, all tissues and organs are interconnected physicochemically and electromagnetically. Body and mind are also inseparably linked, as I explain in my articles Why and How Thoughts Affect Matter, Why and How Everything is Interconnected, There is More Than Just the Universe, and Why and How the Universe is an Illusion. Therefore, potentially everything shows up everywhere. Some parts of the body reflect body and mind particularly well. These include hands, feet, face, and eyes. That's why there are arts such as foot reflexology, hand, face, and iris diagnosis. 40 years ago, I met a psychologist who was a master of hand diagnosis, and I learned this art from him. Reading a handshake is one aspect of this. At the end of the article, I explain why hand reading is a serious diagnostic science. When you read someone's handshake, you must take yourself out of the equation. For example, if you grab a hand firmly, you can't say much about how firmly the other person is grabbing your hand. Therefore, learning to read a handshake begins with observing yourself shaking hands, in order to calibrate yourself. The better you manage being neutral when shaking hands, the more accurately you can read a person. Pay attention to the following signals. How does the hand come towards you? Brisk, energetic, hesitant? You can apply this to the person one-to-one. How does the person grab your hand? Is their hand up, forcing your hand down? Is their hand down so that your hand is up? Or are your hands side by side? An upper hand shows dominance and activity. A lower hand shows submission and passivity. If the hands are side by side, this is an encounter at eye level. With this signal, it is key that you offer your hand neutrally and observe what the other person does with it. How firmly does the person grab your hand? The spectrum ranges from strong, the bone breaker, to weak, the dead fish. A firm grip is a sign of dominance and activity, perhaps even aggression. The dead fish is what the name implies. The person is passive and doesn't want to reveal anything about themselves. They may be stingy, wait and see, or uninterested. Does the other person lock your hand? The vice. This can be done by the other person placing their thumb firmly on the back of your hand from above, while their four fingers hold the edge of your hand in place from below. Or the other person clasps your hand with both hands. Or the other person forces your wrist into a bend. These gestures reduce your ability to move your hand. The other person controls the handshake, and thus you, or at least wants to. The vice is a gesture of dominance, activity, or aggression. However, it can also mean that the other person clings to you. For example, because they need you or think they need you. The shaking of the hands can be powerful or powerless, energetic or hesitant, subdued or exuberant. You also interpret this one-to-one. As you shake hands, you feel the other hand. Is it muscular, fleshy, thin, lean, soft or hard, elastic or stiff, moist or dry, warm or cold? A firm, muscular hand is courageous, persevering, serious. A fleshy hand is content, comfortable. A thin, lean hand is hungry, thirsty, flexible. A soft hand is impressionable, influenceable, sensitive, vulnerable, yielding, adaptable, possibly capricious, dreamy, Epicurean. A hard hand is unimpressionable, uninfluenceable, strict, unyielding, determined, controlled, persevering, practical. Emotional expressions may be inhibited. An elastic hand is adaptable, yielding. A stiff hand is rigid, unyielding. A dry hand is strict, dismissive, energetic. A moist hand is friendly, receptive, sensitive, nervous, excited, shy. A warm hand gives warmth and affection. A cold hand needs warmth and affection. When is a hand soft? When is it hard? When is it stiff? When elastic? These are relative characteristics that you need experience to assess. To gain experience, you need to feel as many hands as possible. Once you have identified the signals, you must combine their meanings. Signals can strengthen or weaken each other. For example, an upper hand, which shows dominance and activity, can be given as a dead fish, which says the opposite. You must take all signals into account and the context. Finally, there is the question of why someone is sending a signal. Let's assume that the handshake contains several dominance signals. Is the person actually dominant or just pretending to be? The dominance could be a mask, for example, to hide a weakness or a feeling of inferiority. If you fear something or someone, you may want to dominate it or them in order to be in control. A self-confident and strong person does not need to dominate you. Hand reading has a reputation as a fairground attraction where the future is predicted. This happens, but it is not truthful. Hand diagnosis is a science that is researched at universities. A serious hand diagnostician will not predict the future, because you can't. The simple reason is that hands are constantly changing. In the written version of this post, you'll see 2 palm prints of a woman's left hand taken 20 months apart as evidence. You can find the link to the article in the description. Hands show a person in the present. They show what someone is made of, what the person is like now, and they show the potential. If a person changes, physically or mentally, their hands change.